Hi, I'm Jim with Stuff Music, and we're here today to look at a brand new pedal from MXR, the Layers. This is a bit of a unique pedal. It's somewhere in the neighborhood of like a freeze, ambient, layering pedal. It has layers to your sound. What kind of layers are those? Well, let's get into it and find out. In the beginning, I was using actually the sustain pedal from a keyboard and this jack here to trigger these three separate layers of diffusion, whatever you want to call it, kind of like throwing a pebble into a pond. And you can control that sound with your mix knob. That's the level of the held, sustained chord note, whatever you have, against your dry signal. The type of attack, so if you go here, where it looks like a square wave, it kind of just ramps up quickly underneath your sound. And then if you set it over here, it builds slowly underneath. The decay, pretty self-explanatory. I had it kind of set on an infinite hold, so I was grabbing those individual chords and using it almost like just like a freeze, like a grab and hold type of thing. And then what I wasn't using is this trigger. You can set this, and so it's kind of like an envelope, and if you go above the threshold level, it will trigger one of the layers levels. Now, this single button, you can go between, like, I'll show you here. If you play a chord, you can just, I'll use the trigger to begin with. So if I don't have single engaged, they're all together, laying over one another. If I engage the single knob, they're discrete. So that can be kind of cool if you want to play chords off of one another that are going to conflict, and you want to go hold those chords and changes without the overlap. That can be very useful. The sub-octave adds a sub-octave to the sound. Now, there is some deeper functionality in this pedal that you can get to using things like a TRS TRS cable into the output, which will put it in stereo. Several other things. You can do wet dry. You can set it up so it just grabs the lowest note in a chord and adds just a sub-octave to that. Because you can use this with a keyboard. You can use this pedal. This pedal's not just for guitar. I'm just going to kind of give an overview of what it does in mono today. But there is a lot of directions you could take this pedal. Definitely for a more creative-minded person. But I'll put it back here and we'll hear what the sub-octave sounds like now. So if I do a higher note, you can really hear that. My poor guitar speaker's begging for mercy when I do that. It's in there subtly. See, I just move the mix a little bit, it comes up quite quickly. Now, if you don't want to do such an ambient type of sound, I can turn the decay down and have it ramp in the other way. You can get some pretty interesting sounds this way too. Now, one thing I will say is you see me, when I engage the pedal with a single tap, if you don't have a foot switch hooked up like I do, you engage the different layers with the pedal itself. So if I have single on, you can see me clicking through them. I take that off, and they all go one another. If you want to turn the pedal off, double tap. All right, so I'm going to engage the pedal and check this out. Now let's kill the reverb I have going on. pretty subtle, but it's in there, kind of bubbling up underneath the surface. Let me take that off. Now, if you don't want to use a pedal, you can use this trigger mechanism. So when you play, it's based on your pick attack. If you rise above the threshold, it engages the effect. If I go to single, now, if I disconnect the jack here, we can just see how it works without that. And you can hear it kind of springing up underneath. If I turn the decay up, if I turn the mix up, I turn the decay way down. That almost sounds like a bowed cello. The sub-octave seems to work a little better. It doesn't mush out so much if you use the single functionality. And all these controls are really interactive. This isn't clearly a set it and forget it pedal. I mean, it's not like an overdrive pedal where you're like, all right, that's the sound, I turn it off, I turn it on. This is much more like, you know, you're given a few different colors on the, what's the thing you hold that Bob Ross had?
Palette.
The palette. That's actually what that piece of wood's called, the palette?
I don't know, that's what I would call it.
Oh, okay. So you have some colors on your palette, and you can mix those colors and paint. And you can create a lot of different, you know, scenes, if you will, with this pedal, you know, both with and without a foot switch. You know, whether or not that's going to work for you, well, that's totally up to you. But I mean, you can just endlessly get into different types of sounds. Now, it's also cool, you know, I had a reverb going with this before, so if you want to get, you know, really into the more textural things, you know, you could combine this with a delay, any kind of time-based effects. That almost to me sounds like one of those old keyboard patches, choir patches. Oh, 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 oh. But it's pretty. It's it's neat, man. You can certainly this is a device you could just endlessly play around in here. And there's stuff that, this pedal has functionality in a rhythmic sense, in a melodic sense, not just for adding ambient textures. If you chill out on the attack and keep the decay down, certainly with this sub-octave thing, you can get things that are less washed out in nature. Kill that reverb I had. And that's kind of neat. That's almost like an octave pedal with somewhat hip latency. Okay, so last couple things we'll go over is every one of these knobs has a sub function. So I made some notes. One thing I really thought was cool was that if you go and hold the single knob down and you get into the mix knob, you can change the modulation amount, which is on the back end of the echoes, which I was digging. And get some shimmer on there. But you can get in here, you can control the amount of chorus or trem on your layers. You can control, like I mentioned before, where the sub-octave is. You can control the modulation mix amount, the amount of diffusion, so you can really diffuse these out. Endless possibilities. But definitely a fun pedal and something I think we all love the guitar, but sometimes you get a little tired of just hearing plain old guitar. So if you want to twist the guitar around and get some new things happening, the MXR layers certainly would be a pedal to check out to do that. All right, that'll do it. Till next time.